Today we have three alumni. We have Vivek and Sharia and Benita, and they will be representing FAYE for the interview panel.
Thanks. Okay, I guess I'll start. My name is Vivek. I'm a freshman at Stanford. Oh, can we go to the next slide? Awesome, thanks. Yeah, so I'm a freshman at Stanford right now. I'll probably major in computer science, but the nice thing is that Stanford gives plenty of time to decide, so there's no rush to declare a major. Another thing I'm looking into is symbolic systems, which is a pretty cool and unique program at Stanford. So far my experience has been really good. Like the class materials are really interesting. All of my professors have been fun as well. And actually it's not been too busy so far. It might be just the course load this first quarter, but I've had a good amount of free time actually, except the last few days, which have been a bit busier because it's like the end of the quarter. So we're like jamming like final projects. Um, and I think like an advantage of taking fewer units than some other students is that it like gives more time to think. Um, so not just like running through assignments, but also like reflecting a lot on the material. So I think overall it was a good decision to take like relatively fewer units the first quarter. And yeah, so it's pretty low stress so far, and hopefully this will continue. And so yeah, here you can see, oh, I was just gonna show the pictures on the first slide. Um, yeah, so here you can see the campus where I would be if there wasn't COVID right now. And then our wonderful mascot, the Stanford tree. And then on the left, that's a tenor saxophone, which is one of the instruments I play. So yeah. Yeah, so far the high school to college transition has been really smooth because like it has only kind of happened since I'm still at home. It's a bit harder to make friends remotely, but it's still possible, just like meeting people on Zoom calls in classes and then like texting them on like GroupMe and stuff. Um, the differences so far, just like based on my experience, are that like classes are much more specialized than they were in high school. Um, so like in at least the courses like I'm taking this quarter, like one of them is called Minds and Machines, and it goes into like all these aspects of cognitive science. And like things like that are just like they explore areas that there wasn't really much exposure to in high school. There's also access to professors who have like accomplished a lot of things. And so it's really cool to be able to talk to them and like I think this is true like in general that your professors will have done a lot of cool research, and if you just go to talk to them, like talk to them in office hours and stuff once you're in college, it's a really great opportunity. There's also lots of exposure to areas of research that I hadn't looked into before. Like just through class readings, it it really like there's this whole pool of research, and at least for us, like through the online library resource, you can find a lot of books and articles and stuff that you wouldn't have access to just online. Um, and then I've had more free time this quarter, I think, than I did for much of high school. But again, it depends a lot on the course load that you choose to take. And I know that others may have had a different experience. So for advice, I guess the only thing I would have done differently if I had had this advice was to like actually read the course catalog and like the course descriptions and ask older students what courses are like before deciding. Like I think mostly I got pretty lucky with courses, but there were like there was one situation where I was like, oh wait, actually that other track would have been really cool, but like I just never realized it. And then things that were very worthwhile were taking a programming course for sure, jazz band, and then doing an internship before senior year. And also I think just being fairly relaxed until application season. Like not stressing out about things the first 3 years of high school. So yeah. And an experience with mental health. Luckily, I had a fairly easy time through most of high school. But first semester of senior year was a lot more stressful, just because of like increased course load plus college applications. Um, I would say my main support though is my family for sure. So because of that, I haven't really had to take advantage of other resources. Um, and so far, it's pretty low stress in college. Some advice I would give is to get enough sleep, but like this is something that I should follow better myself also. And there are lots of resources in college if you need them. So like at least at Stanford, there is like a lot of counseling available. And I've heard that you like really shouldn't hesitate to take advantage of that. And another thing which has helped me is actually like meditation and breathing techniques, which I forgot to mention here on the slide, but that has also been helpful. Yeah.
So next up we have Benita.
Hi everyone, I'm Benita, graduated 2020. And yeah, you can move ahead or go on to the next slide. So yeah, I'm a freshman at Cal, so Vivek and I are automatically rivals. So my major, as of now, I'm still undeclared because I'm in the College of Letters and Sciences. But during my second year, I'm planning on declaring as a molecular and cell biology major. In high school, I did take a lot of science classes, and I think that's kind of what led me to this decision, but we'll get into that later. And experience with mental health. It has been tough. I'm not going to say it's been easy, but thanks to my family and some friends that I have that have been helping me along, it's been mostly on the good side, and I've been managing my stress. And in general, college is very different from high school. I mean, I was expecting this going in, but you're always very surprised when you start your college experience. Mostly because, well, in high school, there are a lot of people who are really openly telling you what to do and how to live your life and do all these things. But in college, there's no hand holding. You really have to advocate for your own learning. Um, um, I'm not saying that there aren't resources for you to use. There definitely are like all the resources you could possibly need, but you really have to step forward and say, yes, I want to do well in school. I want to learn this material if you want to do well. But yeah, and the pictures, so the topmost is just the logos, Cal, the logo for UC Berkeley, MC, that's the MCB logo. In that picture, that's the Campanile. Stanford has one too. And then on the left is a picture of the Alameda Creek. I usually go there for walks just to kind of clear my head, and it's really nice. Right now it's like super cold, but it was really nice in like October-ish. To the right is a picture. That building is Blackwell Hall. That's where I would have stayed if there wasn't a pandemic. It's really close to campus, it has super high speed Wi-Fi, all the things you really want in a dorm. But yeah. And the bottom is St. Stephen Syriac Orthodox Church in San Jose. That's my church community. You can't see me, but I'm in there somewhere. And especially the youth group in that church has been really, I guess, helpful to me because we share a lot of things, and the fellowship has been really helpful. And it's just good to have a community to back you when you're like going through stressful times. But yeah, we can move to the next slide. So high school to college experience. So like I said before, I had no idea of what to expect, but ultimately I adjusted, and you will too, especially now since we really don't know what's going to happen in the future. Having my family living with me was really helpful because they were always there to support me. And yeah, so like I said before, I didn't end up moving. There were a lot of students that did, but at UC Berkeley, they didn't really offer any doubles. So if you were to move into campus, you would have to be living on your own. And there are a lot of strict guidelines, of course, in place to help prevent the spread of COVID-19. So I just, the more financially, like the sense that the option that made more sense financially to me was just to stay home. And differences, a lot more independence, more advocating for your learning, and you decide how productive you are, meaning that there are so many classes that you could take and so many opportunities for you to go to office hours or tutoring, but you get to decide, do I go, or how do I budget my time? Is it worth it for me to go to this tutoring session? What can I learn from this? So yeah, you really get to decide how you use your time, and that really reflects in how well you do in college. And the other thing, little fish in a big sea, that term is often applied to public schools, and that is very much true. UC Berkeley has thousands of students, and not just students from the United States, lots of students who are international and come from lots of different countries. And so the diversity of the university is very high, and that's a good thing. But that does mean that you are not very a significant, I guess it's kind of like you are not a very significant part of that university, just you by yourself, because you're just so many other talented students that go there. But that doesn't change the fact that you still have a lot of resources. And I was actually really surprised by this, because going into this, like when I was applying to schools, like, you know, UCs and private universities, I knew that the main difference between private universities and UCs would be that private universities are a lot smaller. And so your classes are a lot smaller. So you have more time to interact with your professors, and your professors might even know you by name and that kind of thing. But even at UC Berkeley, there are so many resources like the SLC, which is the Student Learning Center, where you can go and you can get one-on-one tutoring any time of day, really. Even when it's super busy, there will be people who will help you one-on-one. And if you take helper courses, like right now I'm taking a math adjunct just to go along with the math course I'm taking right now, that's an option where, like, I'm not sure like if all universities offer something like that, but I'm sure a lot of universities do. And those courses will be just to help you specifically in whatever core course you're taking. But yeah, you really get to decide how well you do in college and what classes you take and how you spend your time. So a little bit of advice that I wish I would have gotten before, you know, starting college applications and all of that stuff. I would really tell myself to research the major that I'm interested in. So, like I said before, I did take a lot of science classes. I was very science heavy in high school, so I automatically assumed, okay, I seem to be liking these courses, might as well take MCB. And looking back on that now, I wouldn't change my decision, but I feel like if I had made some other decision and like that decision didn't reflect my interests, that would be really bad, because then I wouldn't know what I want to do and it would just be a very confusing situation. So make sure that your choice in major isn't just based on what classes you took in high school, it's also based on your interests. And luckily for me, I did ask a lot of alumni from UC Berkeley about their experience and whether they regretted their major decision, and that helped me make my decision. So make sure you do that. And also, you know, there's this thing going on. It's like, oh, you're only going to get into top schools if you take 6 APs and you do like 5,000 extracurriculars. That's not true. Okay. I'm a living example of that. Okay. It's not true. Like, you don't have to take 6 APs and be the president of 10 different clubs to get into a good school. You just need to take classes that challenge you. And you need to do things during high school that matter to you. And that really comes down, like when you write your college essays, it really comes down to that. Did you like your experiences? If you didn't like your experiences, why? You have to reflect. And so doing like spreading yourself into a million little pieces is not going to help during that whole application process. And I have to say, my church, which I mentioned before, was a really big part of this. I've been involved in the church since I was a little kid because of my parents, and I'm really thankful to them because of the community that I had access to because of church. And that really helped me reflect on a lot of things in my life during my application process. So yeah, do things that matter and do what makes you happy. Don't do things because other people tell you to, because that's not going to help, like I said, during the application process, because admissions counselors want to see you. They don't want to see what other people think. They want to see what you think. So do what makes you happy. And I think, is there one more slide? Oh yeah, experience with mental health. Okay. So in high school, I had a really tight knit, close circle of friends who I talked to all the time, brunch, lunch, after school, sleepovers, all that stuff. It was great. I loved them so much. I still talk to them. We still meet up sometimes on Zoom just to check in on each other. And they were so amazing. They still are amazing. And without them, I know I would not have gotten through high school. Yeah, they were my rock. And it's really important for you to have close friends in high school. And I know you guys are, like, mostly the people who are watching this are probably juniors and seniors, but I really hope you guys have close friends who you can tell things to, and just blow off steam with and have fun with. That's really important. Even in this climate, I know it's really hard, but you can still meet up with them online. So it's really important to do that. I also talked to Miss Ronkainen. She was my counselor, and she's amazing. She's so nice. I would just, sometimes I'd just drop in her office and chat. I know that really isn't an option right now, but like whenever I needed to talk to her about something important, like my transcript or where should I apply or all those kinds of things, I went and talked to her, and she was really helpful. She had a lot of resources that could help me, and I'm glad I did that, looking back on it now. And lastly, the teachers I felt closest to. I love the teachers at American. I was so blessed to have such amazing teachers and going into it, because you really need a foundation when you're going into college, because college level, like, even though AP classes are supposed to be, college level classes, it's, college is very different. So going into college, you need to have a good foundation. And a lot of the teachers, and like all of the teachers at American, whatever classes I took, they really helped me build that foundation. So I'm thankful to that, and I'm thankful I talked to those teachers. I really want to go visit sometime after school starts, we resume in person again. I haven't given them my senior wallets yet. So yeah. And in college, my roommate to be, her name is Aparna Kumar. I was supposed to be her roommate. And so she was part of my social bubble from the very beginning of quarantine. So we still study together and chill together. It's great. Like, I'm so thankful for her. I would be a mess if I didn't get to talk to her and study with her. And my counselor, you still get counselors in college, and you can set up meetings with them. They are very busy people because they have hundreds of students to deal with, but you can still set up meetings with them and talk with them. So I actually have a meeting coming up with my counselor to talk about end of semester stuff. But yeah, it's really important to talk to your counselor. And how am I handling stress? Like I said before, better than I imagined, because of my family and friends that I have access to. I'm really thankful for them. I thought going into it, everybody was telling me, oh, you're going to be so stressed because, it's a UC and it's tough, and like all the classes are weeder classes, and you're going to be, you're so insignificant in the face of all the other students, and everybody's going to be, so amazing. And so I went into it thinking all of those things, but in the end, like, all of the communities that I formed within the university, like all the group chats that we have for all the classes that I'm taking, like, everybody's so supportive of each other. We just want everybody to do well. There's none of the toxicity that I was expecting. And that's really great in the face of a pandemic, because things are already so horrible. You don't need anything from your fellow peers, like, to make that any worse. So I'm glad that, my peers are so supportive and so positive in the face of everything. But yeah.
All
And
right.
lastly, we have Sharia.
Hi, my name is Sharia. I actually went to Doherty Valley High School, so I'm not from Fremont. But yeah, I currently go to UC Santa Barbara. I'm a biology major. Well, currently pre-biology. I actually get to declare like my actual major at the end of sophomore year, and I'm also on the pre-med track. So far, my experience with mental health has been like, it's been like a roller coaster ride for sure. And it's kind of like, it's like a day-to-day thing. Like, I'm gonna be honest, like last night, I fully had a breakdown. Like, I was like, what am I doing? Like, why is like this certain class, chemistry for me currently is like a bit of a struggle. It's like the first reading class I'm in. And something that's different about UCSB than UC Berkeley is that we're actually on the quarter system, and it is so fast paced. I've only been in school for less than 2 months now, and I've already had like 2 midterms, and that's been quite different than high school so far. But yeah, honestly, my experience with college has been kind of good. I have liked it a lot more than high school. It's something, well, coming from Doherty, it was a really like toxic environment. It was like very much like each person is like on their own. It's like there's no one helps each other out. But in college so far, it's been very much like supporting each other. And like, again, like Benita said, like with all the different group chats, like everyone actually truly tries to help you. And it's not something that's like, you're kind of all like just competing against each other. So that's something that I found really helpful. And yeah, I'm still adjusting because again, I've only been in school for like less than 2 months. All right, so my transitioning experience, as I said, is like not easy. And yeah, there's been like no hand holding. It's kind of all like you need to be on top of your stuff, you know? So like I always have to have like reminders on my phone, and like something that we got in high school is like constant email reminders of things. And this time, like in college, you don't really get that, and you don't really have teachers reminding you to do stuff. And it's not just like schoolwork stuff, it's also like registering for classes. Like, oh, like there's this meeting that you have to attend today to like be able to register for your classes next quarter and all of that. So keeping track of everything was really hard for me for the first couple of weeks. I was so scared that I was going to like forget something or just like miss something and then like get a 0 on an assignment, which like, thank God, none of that actually happened, because I was finally able to like figure out a system that works for myself. I bought a planner, write in that planner every day. I also do Google Calendar, so it's like a double thing. So like that way I never miss anything. So yeah, it's just kind of, you need to find your own like way to handle everything and plan everything out. And for like coursework and stuff, I'm taking a pretty full like course load for a freshman, and it's been good. The only class like I really struggled with is like chemistry, but that's like kind of like a given if you're going to be a bio major. But you know, it's a work in progress. Like it's like finding a way like to study that works for you, because studying in college is a lot different than high school. In high school, I could get away with like studying like just 1 or 2 days before the exam and still get an A on the test. But like college, you need to be studying like at least a week in advance. Otherwise, like you're probably not going to do well on the exam at all. And so it's kind of like you're learning and studying constantly. There's never really like a break of studying, to be honest. That's what it feels like, at least like with the quarter system. And yeah, so that's been my transitioning experience so far. But I haven't moved away from home, as you can tell. I'm still in my room. But I have found a roommate, and she's honestly like, she's become like one of my closest friends now, which is like crazy since we've only known each other for a few months now. But like we FaceTime all the time. She's actually from LA though, so we haven't met in person yet. Her name's Lulu. She's an angel. She's also a pre-bio major, also pre-med and stuff like that. And so yeah, differences in high school and college are that grading is very different in college, is something that I've noticed. You don't, at least like for my classes, you don't really know your total grade in the class, because you kind of start at 0% and you work your way up to 100%, rather than in high school when it's like 100% and you kind of go down. So that's something that I thought was interesting. And it's kind of like you're constantly guessing what grade you have in the class, which I hate. I hate it. Like I want to know what grade I have in the class, but you know, you can't really change that. And yeah, very fast paced if you come to a UC with a quarter system. That's like the one downside of a UC, I think. And yeah, you can't procrastinate. Like maybe procrastinating worked for you in high school. You cannot do that in college. Like don't do it. That is my biggest piece of advice. It is going to be your downfall if you continue to procrastinate in college. And yeah, so any advice I wish I would have gotten in high school, stop procrastinating, like develop a study system that works for you, because that's going to be really important again in college. And something I did a lot in high school was stressing about, oh, what college am I going to get into? Like, I'm not going to get into any colleges, but honestly, you're going to end up where you belong. And it's all going to work out in the end, as long as you're putting in the work and as long as you're doing everything you need to. Okay, so in high school, I talked to mainly like these two teachers, my junior year US history teacher and my senior year English teacher. So my senior year, I had one period that I was a TA for my US history teacher, for my US history teacher. So honestly, senior year, I would be going to her during that period and I would just talk to her, like let all the stress out. Because senior year, first semester for me at least, was like more stressful than junior year, like altogether. And it was not fun. I played varsity water polo, so that I was like already missing like half days of school. And then I was like taking a heavy course load. And I was also doing college apps. And that was honestly such a stressful time in my life. Don't know how I did it. But, your friends and your outlets are really going to get you through that. And also like my best friend, we live like 2 minutes away from each other. Whenever I felt like super stressed or whatever, I just go to her house and we just like lay in bed together and just kind of like talk, And and now in college, it's mainly like my friends and family. I am gonna be honest, I haven't talked to my counselor at UCSB yet because they don't really do many appointments. It's more like you kind of talk with a peer advisor, which I found kind of like I don't love that, but the peer advisors are great as well. And I also have a mentor from this program that I joined, and she's been an absolute angel, and she constantly reassures me like I'm doing well, like I'm not doing like bad, like I'm doing like I thought like, oh, I need to be getting like A's on all my tests for like chemistry, but that's not true because there's like crazy curves at the end of the year, which like help bring your grade up and bring everybody's grade up because like the averages are C's and they'll bring up the average to a B and then stuff like that. So don't worry about that. I didn't know that. And I was like, I was so sad for like after my first exam, but she's been like really reassuring. She's like, you're doing great. And she's like someone I go to when asking about like what classes I need to join and stuff like that. So also another piece of advice I could give to you before, when you join college is join like clubs and like these different mentorship programs where you find someone to be your mentor. It's really, at least like with COVID and stuff, it's been really helpful to me because that's where I've made most of my friends and like found people that can like actually support me through college rather than just like my family and my friends from high school, because sure, they like went to my high school and stuff, but they go to different colleges now. So it's like we all have very different experiences currently. And yeah, so handling stress depends on the day. Like I said, had a total breakdown last night, but I honestly think my experience with stress in college has been a lot better than in high school.
Okay, and now we're done with the introductions and we'll start with the interviews, Q&A now.
Okay, so the first question would kind of be about how should high schoolers in general prepare to pursue their major, whether it be like extracurriculars helping them or volunteering or internships, etc. So what do you guys think?
I think you should be doing what Benita said, quality over quantity always. Don't be doing 15 different things just for like a few months. I would say find like 3 or 4 things that you do throughout all 4 years of high school. And then of course, like there's little things here and there. So yeah, definitely quality over quantity. And if you can, do an internship, do some shadowing, depending on like whatever you're interested in. It will be really helpful. It gives you like new insight into like what you thought you liked. Like for me, I did like a dental internship. I realized I don't like mouths. Like that's not what I want to do. So yeah, it helps you learn about different things, helps you like clarify what you like and what you don't like.
Okay, and what is your general advice about AP classes? So are there certain AP classes that you would recommend for high schoolers to take for certain majors? and fields?
I mean, I would say like AP Calculus, like is definitely something you should take if like math is your thing. Um, oh, I mean, for like any STEM major, really, um, at least the ones which use a lot of math. And then, like, if you're at all interested in computer science, would like highly recommend checking out like AP Computer Science at A or Principles. I mean, hopefully, like the teacher for that at your school is really good. Like the teacher at my school made it really exciting, so that was a great intro. Um, and then yeah, like my strategy was just like I took um, like pretty much all the APs I could in the subject areas that I was really interested in, and I didn't bother with like some of the other APs. Like I wasn't just trying to like load it up, and that seemed to work pretty well. Like I think I didn't take any of the like AP like history or econ or any of that. Um, just like the math, science, English ones that I really enjoyed, and computer science. Yeah.
I kind of want to add on to that. Yeah, definitely do what he said. Take the APs that you're actually interested in. Don't take like classes that you're not interested in because your grade will probably reflect that. And also, what was I going to say? AP classes. I had a really important thought. I'm trying to remember. Oh yeah, okay. So something that you hear a lot is AP classes is going to give you college credit, but yes, it does. But also, if you're say a biology major and you took AP Calculus, AP Biology, AP Chemistry, you're going to have to retake those classes in college. Like they count towards your credit, but you're just going to have to retake it because those classes apply to your major. However, if you took like AP World History, that credit, you're not going to have to take that again because that's going to count because that's not an actual major class. That's a GE class. So yeah, whatever your major classes are, you're going to have to retake them regardless.
Yeah, I think it's a little bit different at Stanford. I like for example, I'm pretty sure AP Calculus, like yeah, you don't have to take the equivalent class if you've like gotten a good AP score on it already.
Yeah, you just take like a higher level, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
same here.
I still think like for example for CS, I think I might have to take still the same amount of math credits at Stanford, just at a higher level or something.
Yeah, same as I think most UCs, right? Benita. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. I had the same experience that Sharia talked about. Like a lot of my AP credits, they're just going to my credit requirement. I think we need 120 credits to graduate. Um, and I still have to retake, Chem 1A, Bio 1A, all those classes, and I'm taking Chem right now, like Sharia. But yeah.
Yeah, I would, at least the way I thought of it was not really in terms of earning college credit, but more like but like one, you learn a lot of stuff and it's like and like if you like challenging classes, it can be really fun. And then two, I think it is like reasonably important for college admissions to have like a strong set of courses. Like not necessarily like a maximally hard set of courses, just like a strong set in the areas that you're interested in. So, yeah.
I want to add something onto the last question that I totally forgot to say, but you guys are saying like how important are extracurriculars? In my experience, they're very important. For me, my GPA was like not as high as I wanted it to be, but because I played water polo all 4 years at high school, and because I did like certain other like volunteering and stuff, I think that helped make up for my GPA. Like it was just kind of like, okay, like I'm not the highest like GPA that's like going to UCSB from Doherty, but I had all these like other extracurriculars and other things that I did that my peers didn't. So I think that helped me get into the schools that I got into.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Freshman year, I didn't do anything because I had no idea what I was doing. But starting sophomore year, I joined cross country and track. I didn't get a track senior season, but everything, besides that, I ran track and cross country all 3 years, and it was really helpful to me. In my opinion, everybody should play a sport, even if you don't like sports, because it's like so helpful to manage stress. Like when I was running with my team, I would be working out all the little kinks that had been building up over the day, all the stress that had been building up over the day. I just force all my frustration into my running, into my performance. And that was really helpful for me. And when you play sport, it's another community that you get to be a part of. And my team was like a second family to me. I love them so much. I'm so thankful for all the experiences that I've had with them. So yeah, I definitely recommend doing like you have to have some form of physical exercise that you do throughout your time in high school and in college, because otherwise your stress will build up and you'll have no outlet, and that will not do well. Your mental health will not, your mental health will not be helped by the fact that you're not doing exercise. So I think that's really important too.
Yeah, music helps as well. If you're into that thing like band, if you're into choir or orchestra, yeah.
Yeah, so a very good follow-up question would be, as many UCs have gone test optional, I think many have gone test blind too, and then schools throughout the throughout the country has gone test optional. So does that mean that there will be more weightage towards ECs? And because of the COVID pandemic, many people are not able to participate in ECs. So what do you recommend for people to do?
I'm going to be honest, like I have no idea because we had to take like ACTs, SATs, and in my opinion, my ACT also helped because I, again, didn't have the highest GPA, but my ACT, like I was able to get a really good score. So that honestly helped me get into college. And I'm going to assume like without those standardized tests, extracurriculars, and your GPA is going to be weighted a lot more. But honestly, in general, your GPA will always come first. That is the first thing they're going to look at. Then they're going to look at your standardized test scores. Then they're actually going to look at your extracurriculars and then your personal statements and stuff. So yeah, just focus on your GPA. That's like, I think the number one. That is, I think, what's going to get you. Well, obviously you have to meet like the GPA cutoffs, and then obviously have like a lot higher than the GPA cutoff, because the GPA cutoffs are just there because they say, I think it's like UCs, it's like 3.0 or 3.2 or something, but like that's honestly, you're probably not going to get into most of the UCs with like a 3.0, 3.2 coming from the Bay Area, coming from like Fremont and stuff. So yeah, focus on your GPA, focus on extracurriculars. I know there's like online clubs and like some online volunteering like resources that you can find if you do some research. There's also like some online like research positions I found and internships. So just do your research. You will find like things to do, and yeah.
Yeah, just off the top of my head, like in my case, since I'm into like programming a lot, like one thing that helped me was some of the cool programming projects that I had done in high school. So like if that's also your thing, then that's definitely something you can work on during pandemic time, and like you don't need any like external like anything for that. Yeah, and then if your school, I don't really know how extracurriculars are working this year in high schools, but like I mean, if there are virtual club meetings and stuff, you could still go to those and like see what you can do.
Oh, one thing I like don't recommend doing is I've seen like a lot of people that are like younger than me in like my old high school. They started like 501c like nonprofits, and they just started their junior year. Don't do that if you don't actually care. Like colleges can smell like when you're totally just doing it for college apps. Do it if you care about it. Don't just do it for your college apps. Like people are saying podcasts and like random like nonprofits. Like sure, that's great, but yeah, colleges can definitely tell if you're doing it just for college apps.
The next thing would kind of be like, how would you recommend managing school and extracurriculars while still maintaining your mental health in general? I know we touched upon this in the presentation, but kind of wanted to know what you guys would say if you had to elaborate on that.
definitely form a network. Like, I know that, like, especially now, if you're thinking about college, you're probably already planning ahead in your head. You're like, oh, I'm probably gonna have to stay home if this pandemic doesn't go away. So, just like, or make peace with that fact, and then create a network for yourself. Your parents obviously will hopefully be a good source of support, but even outside of your family, find there's still ways to connect with students that you'll hopefully see in person in the future from your college and from high school too. Talk to your teachers, talk to your counselors like we had talked to before. So yeah, definitely form a support network because you will need it. You can't go at it alone. I don't think it's possible really to go through all of the stress and all these experiences by yourself with no one to support you. So yeah, form a network.
Okay, awesome. And this is like a very big question. Why did you choose your major, and how did you know that this was the career that you intend on pursuing?
I'm gonna have another like honest moment. I don't think anyone knows 100% sure what their career is gonna be as a freshman in college. Like, I started as a 17-year-old as a freshman. Most of us are 18. Like, you're not gonna know what you want to do fully. Like, you're gonna have an idea, but honestly, it's probably gonna change throughout your 4 years in college and after. But for me, I kind of knew, oh, I want to go into the bio department, and I kind of knew that since like seventh, ninth grade, because in seventh grade, I had this wonderful life sciences teacher, because back then in seventh grade, it was just biology that you learn. And she honestly, like, I even told her when I graduated, like, you are the one who like got me so passionate about biology. And yeah, after that, like in ninth grade, you take biology again. And then I took AP biology and all of that. So it was just kind of like, I don't know, that's like the one subject that I kind of always like, I didn't mind studying for, like, I wouldn't mind reading the textbook. Like, it was just something I kind of knew. But yeah, I still like, I say that I'm majoring biology now, but I still don't know like what specific bio major. Like right now I'm planning MCDB, which is molecular cellular developmental biology, but I'm also thinking, oh, maybe I want to do biopsych, because the class I did take in high school was AP psychology. Absolutely loved it. So I'm still trying to figure it out, because I have till the end of sophomore year.
Yeah. Oh, you can go first if you want.
No, it's okay. Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah. So I guess how I got into like computer science would be like in high school, just starting. I really only started programming seriously like around the summer before 10th grade. And then like 10th grade, I took AP CSA in high school and like really loved it. And so for me, it was just one of those things that like before that, I had done a lot of like physics and math and that kind of stuff, but like hadn't really programmed except I think like those drag and drop stuff. Um, but then when I started like programming, it just kind of clicked, and it was like really like addictive almost. And so yeah, I guess just see if you have an experience like that, or like some subject area that like you just love doing. Um, and then I guess like at Stanford, there's actually a few different majors that are related to like CS type stuff. So like there's computer science. There's also like mathematical and computational science, which is something I was really looking at when I applied. And then another one that I'm looking at more now is called like symbolic systems, which is like more like cognitive science based, but also a lot of computation. So yeah, definitely like in terms of specific major, if the college you're applying to has a lot of options, then it's also worth like looking into groups of related things and like seeing what the details are there. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I had a similar experience. I mean, obviously everybody has roughly the same experience. You don't really know like 100% what you're gonna do going into college, like Shoria said. I guess growing up, my mom would always tell me, "Oh, I want you to be a doctor," and like all this stuff. And so I was like, oh yeah, I want to be a doctor. And then in high school, I was like, wait, do I really want to be a doctor? So like, you know, like there's a lot of questions that you face in high school. And then I did shadowing and I really liked it. I really liked it. I felt at home. I felt at peace. Like this was like where I wanted to be in 10 years. And yes, it takes more than 10 years, but, you know, I really liked where I was when I was shadowing those doctors. And so that's why I decided to be pre-med like Sharia. And to be pre-med, you really don't have to, like, you guys know this, I hope you know this, but you don't have to take a bio major. You don't have to do a life science major in order to be pre-med. There are just classes that you have to take, like probably, you know, 2 semesters of organic chemistry, a semester of chemistry, a semester of like calculus, math. Like there's just things that you have to take. You could be like a humanities major and be pre-med. I just decided to do MCB, molecular and cell biology, because I just thought like I'm interested in the sciences. I like bio. So I thought I'd do this. And so that's how I made my decision. But yeah, make sure you know that you like what you're doing and you're taking classes that you want to take and you're not taking them because somebody else told you you should. That's really important.
Yeah, another benefit. Oh, sorry.
Oh, okay. I was just gonna add one more thing, which I forgot to mention, which is that I would say like around the middle of high school, I was kind of like evenly split in terms of interest between like CS type stuff and like physics. And one thing that was kind of decisive for me there was thinking about like what I really wanted to do career-wise and like which field I thought I could have more of an impact in. So like if you do have sort of multiple interests that are like at a very similar level and you have an idea of like what those fields are like, then you might want to like spend some time thinking forward, like, oh, what kind of actual like career opportunities are there in this field, and like what are the ways that I can contribute and stuff like that.
Yeah, okay. Well, what I was gonna add on was same with Benita. Like well, for me, it wasn't like my parents like telling me to be a doctor. They never actually did that, so I was lucky in that sense. It's just kind of like, I think it was more like subtle messages. Like in kindergarten, they made me dress up as a doctor for like career day. And it was just like subtle things like that, you know. But honestly, I think those subliminal messages like got to me. And I also did like a summer program, and I got to work with the doctors and med students at the UC Irvine Medical School. And that was honestly like a proper, like, I want to say like one of the biggest like pivoting moments in my life, because I got to work in a hospital with actual patients and like seeing patients and seeing the impact that doctors actually make on them and how they're so grateful and how their life honestly changes. Like there's this one patient that I will always remember that I wrote about in my college apps. Like he was a methamphetamine addict and we got to work with him. And honestly, like that's what kind of like solidified, oh, this is what I want to do for the rest of my life. And yeah, so maybe I didn't get there on my own. Maybe it was the subliminal messages from my parents, but yeah, there's like usually moments. You'll have a moment where you're like, okay, this is kind of like, this is like what I think I really, really want to do for the rest of my life.
Okay, awesome. That was all wonderful advice, and I'm pretty sure everyone would, whoever watches the video, will really appreciate it. So thank you all so much for the advice, and hopefully we'll see each other soon. And yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course. If anyone who watches this or you guys have any questions in the future, if you want, I can let you guys have like my email or Instagram or anything, whatever you guys are more comfortable with. Like I will answer your DMs or emails.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah.
Yes.